The solo cash cups are starting up really soon, so you guys need to be able to practice for them and understand exactly how to place and earn money in these cash cups. I can promise you that every single one of you guys has an opportunity of making money in these cash cups. This is going to be the best way for most of you guys to make your first earnings. And if you guys want to properly understand the best way to play it throughout these cash cups, please watch until the end of the video. Be sure to use code SONATA in the Fortnite item shop if you guys do want to support me, but let's hop into this video. So honestly, the best way to properly survive through each of the mid-games of this cash cup is to make sure that you're able to deal with mid-game fights. Now, mid-game fights is the way that a majority of players die in solo arena and solo cash cups. And you guys need to understand how to properly deal with these mid-game fights and win them 80% of the time. If you can win a high percentage of your mid-game fights, ideally you're going to be making it to the end game of most of your games in the cash cup. And if you make it to the end game, you have a higher chance of getting more placement points and more elimination points. And who knows, you might win the game. However, the big thing is that you guys need to understand mid-game fights are not necessarily easy. Every single opponent fights in a different way, and you guys need to master fighting against most of these playstyles. One of the best ways to practice dealing with mid-game fights is to play arena. Now, I know I've brought up playing arena a lot in my previous videos, however, you guys need to make sure that when you're playing arena, you should land at a contested POI, try to fight off spawn, get good loot, and then key every single person that you see. It's important that you try to fight as many people as possible because you need to get used to your in-game ping, your in-game playstyles, and various different players that are of your same skill level. Obviously, you do need to be in champs for these cash cups, and there's no other better way to get to champs than obviously playing arena. As a matter of fact, you have to play arena to get to champs, so you're gonna pretty much need to do this. Even after you get to champs, arena is still some really good W key practice. You should practice your W keying and fighting. I recently made a video on fighting IQ, so I'm gonna link that in the top right corner if you guys are interested in checking that out. But what's really important is that you understand the different types of playstyles that players have and how to counter them. Now, if you're fighting a player that has a more aggressive type playstyle, you should try to play defensive and look for defensive counter piece control. Try to go for some sneaky pre-fires and try to go for some shots off of peanut butter edits and some window edits. Be sure to utilize your right hand peek if you're fighting an aggressive player. Now, if you're fighting somebody who's defensive, you naturally shouldn't be playing that aggressive. What you should try to do is utilize your right hand peek to the point where you can get some sneaky piece control on the enemy, and then try to eliminate him from an angle where you have the advantage. The important thing is to never take 50-50s during mid-game fights because that is a higher chance of you getting eliminated. And in terms of how to avoid third parties, the second that a third party shows up to your fight, try to distance yourself from the third party and make sure that the third party focuses on the opponent that you're fighting at the time. You never want to be the person who's getting griefed by a third party player in a fight. 9 times out of 10, that's going to result in your elimination in the game. So what you should try to do is play a bit more passive, and if you do get into a mid-game fight, you should be able to handle them because of your practice while playing arena. Alright, so another big topic of discussion when it comes to solo cash cups is stacked endgames. Now, solo cash cup endgames are most likely going to have around 20 people each moving zone, and that's only in the best case scenario. What you guys should do to practice these endgames is play some solo scrims and practice all of your tarping techniques in creative and in-game. I know so many people that get so confused about how to move throughout endgame zones because they don't know how to properly tarp. There are a bunch of really good solo tarps that you guys can try to do, and I'm going to link my tarping video in the top right corner right now. Solo tarps most of the time save the most material, so you guys shouldn't really need to look for that many refreshes or impact frags, and you can play for placement pretty much the whole time. If you play scrims, almost all of the time you're going to be able to practice your tarping techniques during the endgame as long as you make it there. Most no zone rule scrims have a very active player base in terms of no zone rule customs. And solo scrims pretty much run every day. And once again, if you guys do need some solo scrim servers, be sure to check out my top right corner video right now. And as long as you guys know exactly how to play throughout your endgame, you should be good in terms of playing in these solo cash cup endgames. One other large factor in these solo cash cup games is going to be confidence in your mentality. Now, I'm going to be going pretty in-depth on what confidence is and how it exactly affects your mentality. Now, if you're confident when you're playing the game, it's going to naturally help you guys place better. Now, you may be asking the question about why that's going to help you place better. Well, confidence is going to help you guys solidify your gameplay down to a science. You're never going to hesitate when you're doing a certain choice, and if you do die because of a certain choice, you're going to lock it down in your brain and not do that again. Confidence is one of the biggest issues that I see in solos, and not enough players have it. If you have a lot of confidence, it's going to help you guys progress throughout the rest of the game, and you're never really going to feel afraid of any players around you. You're not going to be like those players who play arena games and camp in bushes all day. You're going to be the one eliminating them. And in terms of how confidence affects your mentality, it's going to really affect the way that you think if you die in game. If you die and you blame it on something that happened that is RNG based, it's going to affect your confidence and bring it down. If your confidence and your mentality is going down, it's not going to help you at all. You want to make sure that that your mentality is 9 times out of 10 beneficial to you and your gameplay. I would recommend that you guys figure out what your playstyle is and then write it down on a piece of paper next to you while playing the cash cup. And if you die, make sure that you're sticking to that playstyle throughout every single game. Never try to stray away from it and be confident in that one playstyle. Your mentality should be based around this. And as long as you guys properly handle your mental like this, you should be good in terms of solo cash cup. Another tip that I would give you guys is to be in a Discord call with some of your friends while you are playing in the solo cash cup. What you guys should do is in between games, be sure to hype each other up and boost each other's mentality. What that's going to do is make you perform better, and once again, your mentality is going to be a lot better. And if you do bad, your friends will always be there to have your back. Another thing is to also be warmed up adequately before you play. Never start a cash cup, let alone any tournament, without being warmed up. Practice your aim, practice your mechanics, and practice your fighting right beforehand. I would recommend you try to get on 45 minutes before the cash cup starts in order to start practicing. And if you guys followed these 2 steps, you're most of the time going to be able to sufficiently place in these cash cups. Another one that I'm going to be giving is optional, but I would recommend you guys try to chew gum in the middle of the game. If you guys are into chewing gum, it does help you focus scientifically, and if you chew gum while playing, you can focus on the game a little bit better. You don't want any distractions from you playing. So be sure to chew gum if you guys are interested in doing that, and make sure that it's not gum that tastes too weird. I don't know why you would be chewing that in the first place. And now the final tip that I'm going to be giving you guys in order to place in solo cash cups is to study professional players' games. If you guys are able to study pros like Ryzen, Tayson, and Mr. Savage who plays consistently in cash cups, you're obviously going to improve. Most people don't even VOD review their own gameplay. And if you stand alone in terms of VOD reviewing your own gameplay and also professional gameplay, you're going to improve at a rate that is much more rapid than players who don't. I would recommend that you guys VOD review players like Tayson because he is one example of an insane solo player. He's won many solo cash cups and even 2 solo FNCSs. As long as you guys understand how Tayson plays and why he plays that way, you should be all set for your cash cup games. But what you do need to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, not all of us are pros and not all of us have the same skill that the pros have. And if you even have 60% of the skill that the pros have, you guys can easily place in these cash cups. Once again, try to eliminate that RNG, try to land at a really good drop spot when you guys first land off spawn, and then obviously be able to deal with mid-game fights. You need to practice solo scrims, be confident, and study professional play. Those are the best 4 tips that I can give you guys to place in these solo cash cups. Anyways guys, that is the video on exactly how to place in these solo cash cups that are coming up in Chapter 2 Season 7. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel down below. If you guys are interested in checking out any of my other socials such as my TikTok, Twitter, Discord, and Twitch, be sure to check them out in the description. But that's about it for this video guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.